concept of African liberation. Approximately 40 years ago, we entered, as an African people, into a new experience in America. That is, that there was a framework of thinking that said that we were ready to become part of the American civilization, so to speak. During the last 40 years, I think if we are honest, what we have to recognize is that some of us have moved to levels of stature and wealth that were never dreamed of by our ancestors, no doubt. But when you look at us as a people, I think we have to acknowledge that that hasn't been the experience for the majority of us. That is, our integration into the American society has, in fact, enabled us to understand that the cupboard of American democracy is empty. That is, when you look at the joblessness that confront not only Black people, but Latinos, Asians, young white men and women. When you look at the fact that in 1973 there were 500,000 people of all races in jail, 137,000 of them were Black. Today there are 2.3 million people in jail, 1.3 million are Black. What we have to acknowledge is that the American society as organized is not moving as a framework that is going to enable us to move forward as a people. Our middle class, our educated, our athletes, our entertainers, yes, they are going to be able to move forward. But we have to recognize that moving forward for us has meaning only if all of us move forward. If all of us move forward, if we just have segments that move forward, we have to acknowledge that the American process of co-optation has worked. So I think there are 2 or 3 objectives that we have to focus on. One is we have to create an economic strategy. We have to create an economic strategy that can be the basis of our economic liberation in America. We should not be insane and look to government, to look to businesses, to create the base of our moving forward. We have to understand that when we talk about African genius, that if we really believe in that, then we have to believe in our ability as African people working with our allies in this country to create an economy that can feed, clothe, and house us. And if we can't do that, all the rest of it is just talk. You know what I mean? And we don't need to talk today. The other thing we have to acknowledge is that while we have to participate and use the political process, we have to understand that politics is something that we use as part of our strategy for liberation. But understand that politics cannot free us. Understand that we would not even be able to vote in this country if we had depended on a political structure to eliminate the segregation in the South. The only thing that changed the situation was our beginning to move and creating alliances, and those alliances created power that forced the change. We didn't spend 400 years in this country to die by genocide as we're dying now. We spent 400 years in this country, I think, to lay the foundation for creating a country that everyone can be proud of. Now the time, as America falls, and brothers and sisters have fallen, this is the moment that we knew was coming, and we have been waiting for centuries. America is falling. And as America falls, just remember Malcolm X's story. And that is, he said, you know, in the olden days, when the plantations would catch on fire, the house slaves would say, "Master, master, how can we save the plantation?" And the field slaves would say, "Thank God for the fire, because their attention cannot be on their saving the plantation and keeping us captives. Let's go for it, because this is our moment." Question, brothers and sisters, is, are you in the house or are you in the field? Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Turner. Up next, we have another City Councilman, Charles Yancey.
Thank you very much, and welcome to your Boston City Council chambers.
That's right.
I'm here simply to wish happy birthday to Marcus Garvey. Marcus Garvey suffered greatly as he organized Africans in America during the earlier part of the last century. And his mission was to create a greater sense of purpose, pride, a sense of self-determination among African people in the United States and in this hemisphere. He knew that we could not attain any power as a people unless we were in fact organized, unless we did in fact have a sense of pride. He knew that we had to organize economically as well as politically. That's why he started the Black Star Line. He wanted commerce between sisters and brothers on the continent and in America. And even though he was born in Jamaica, he had a tremendous impact also on Africa itself. He called for the independence of Africa, which, as you know, at that time was colonized by various European powers. He coined a phrase that I'm sure it's been used frequently this afternoon: Africa for the Africans. So here we are in the 21st century, in a nation that was built on slave labor, a nation who got its economic start because of the exploitation of fellow human beings. And he knew also that this was not a natural phenomenon. He knew that for Africans to get their freedom and independence, that they had to fight for it, that they had to struggle, and they had to guard against co-optation as well as exploitation. So as Jesse Jackson would say during his presidential campaigns of 1984 and 1988, the hands that once picked cotton would now pick presidents. So happy birthday, Marcus Garvey. Thank you for reestablishing our dignity and respect and our pride. And I'm sure that our sisters and brothers in Ghana think about Marcus Garvey every time they go through the Black Star Square in the crowd. A nation that was also inspired by Marcus Garvey's call for African independence. God bless you, and thank you so much for bringing this program to the Boston City Council.
Thank you, Councilman Yancey. Next up, we have Jamal Crawford.
Peace, how y'all doing? First, it's really important to recognize what we're doing here. And when I say what we are doing here, not just what we are doing in the event that we created, but what we are doing here in this building, in this place. Why do we see it necessary to do this at City Hall? Councilor Yancey said, welcome to your city council, because really, a lot of our people, we don't feel privileged enough or welcome enough to be up in these buildings, but these are our buildings. A lot of times in politics, people say sometimes it doesn't matter, if you're not a voting person, then you might not get the services. Everybody here does one thing, you pay taxes. Whether you're paying it out of your income check, whether you're paying it when you buy something or what have you, you are paying taxes, right? So just on that basis alone, you have bought into the system, and the system owes you some stuff. And that's why when I walk up in here, I walk in like I own the joint, because that's how I really feel I do. All right? I take possession. City Hall, the State House, the community, wherever I'm at, I feel it's Black Nation property. And in the new Black Panther Party, of which I'm the Boston Chapter Chairman and the National Minister of Information, it is our duty to take guard and hold of all Black Nation property within view. So right now, that's City Hall. It's important that we put this thing here, where we make them deal with the red, black, and green, because this place has seen everything else. I used to work here around March, around St. Patty's Day, everything is green. And there's 8-foot-tall leprechaun, paper cutouts all through the hall, whatever. But when it comes to Black History Month, when it comes to Black August, when it comes to our Kwanzaa, there is little, if not any, sign that we are appreciated on an equal basis in the society. But you're supposed to bow down for every holiday, for every memorial, for every symbol of what they have said. You're supposed to bow down and respect it, but yet they don't want to give us nothing. So this right here is a principle that we work on within the new Black Panther Party. It's called forced recognition. Meaning you gotta force people to recognize you. You gotta force people to recognize your culture. You gotta force people to respect it. And just like on the street, you tell somebody, man, come on, stop playing. No, you're gonna respect me. You're gonna respect me. It's that type of attitude that you have to bring into the system to force them to recognize you. Because if you wait for them to give you recognition, you will be waiting a long time. You will be sadly disappointed. So us being here is saying that we're here, we're on the map, just like every other flag they raise, whether it be all the different nationalities and cultures that divide and separate us, whether it's Puerto Rican or Dominican or Haitian or Jamaican. We all are under this flag here. This is the flag for us wherever we are at. The flag of Pan-Africanism, the flag of Black nationalism, the flag of African liberation. And we have to remember that this is what we deal with, not just in honor of Marcus Garvey, but every day. This is what we live, the RBG code. This is what we do. We want to remember too that power concedes only to power, which is why you have to force them to recognize you. But once you do that, and you are on the radar, now what? You have a responsibility to hold yourself upright and carry yourself in a way that makes your people proud. And this is why we do it. And part of that tradition, you hear people talk about it a lot of time, about cross-generational relationships and whatnot, passing on the torch. But oftentimes we find in our society, due to the Willie Lynch syndrome that has the older fighting with the young and the young fighting with the older, they don't pass the torch oftentimes. Oftentimes you gotta rip that torch out of their old dead, cold, rigor mortis fingers, and they still clanging on to the torch. We don't want to do that. We want to pass the torch while I'm alive and breathing. We want to pass the torch while the torch is still lit. You don't want to give somebody an old torch that already burnt out, right? So this is what this represents. Many of y'all may know 2004, we raised the red, black, and green flag right here outside City Hall Plaza, as we'll do again in some moments. And now we're showing up right here. Jesse Winfrey, y'all put your hands together for this great thing. We saw that thing and we recognized that that thing was a good thing. And then if you see something that is a good thing, what do? You duplicate it. This ain't hip-hop. You ain't be mad if somebody bites your idea. If it's a good idea, it's meant to be duplicated. That's what it is. This is how we teach. This is how we learn. This is how we progress. And this is how we advance as a people. I'm going to leave y'all with this thing. I just really want to look at this. Men who are in earnest are not afraid of consequences. That's really like, that's how I live my life. You gotta do what you know is right and let the chips fall where they may. Because too often in our lives, we've done it for the wrong thing. We've done it in past lives and sold drugs to all hours of the morning in freezing rain and the snow, up in a hallway till 3 or 4 in the morning. So if you can do stuff like that for purposes that are wicked, what will you do now that you're righteous? How hard will you work? The reason that the wicked are winning is because the wicked be working harder being wicked, and the righteous are lazy. So we have to flex our righteous revolutionary muscles to continue to do stuff like this, encourage and support our youth at every level we got, support our elected officials who we know are working with us. And this don't always mean that as a people we always going to be in agreement. We don't need to be in agreement, but we need to be in unison. I don't got to agree with you, but I know I'm not going to watch nobody do no harm to you. And that's what we're dealing with here. Men who are in earnest, men who really have a sincere compassion and concern for what it is they believe in are not afraid of consequences. What they going to do to you that they ain't already done. All right? So I said, look, blessings to that brother Marcus Mosiah Garvey, honorable. And God knows what they put him doing, what they put all of our leaders who are taking a stand against this wicked system and this wicked beast. And we got to bring a little red, black, and green up in the Boston City Hall, because God knows they done with the green plenty in here. All right? And now we got to go red and black. Red, black, and green. Boston City Hall in honor for Marcus Mosiah Garvey. Once again, put it together for my man, Jesse Reynolds. Black power. Black power.
Thank you very much. Next up, we got Sister D. Peace, brothers and sisters. Peace. Can I just say how beautiful it is to see you all here today?
That's right.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I want to start off with a quote from the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey, and it says, it goes like this: "Show me a race or the nation without a flag, and I will show you a race of people without any pride." In the song and mimicry they have said, every race has a flag but the queen. How true. But that was said of us 4 years ago. They can't say it now. They cannot say it now. So that's what I want to start off on, and I want to share a little story with you, a personal experience that I had, because I stand here as living proof of the power of these colors and of the power of this flag. When I went to college, my grandfather shared a piece of wisdom with me that I want to share with you. I know that some of the young sister I met just now here is going to college in September. And I want to share this especially with her, especially with anyone who is planning on going into the mouth of the lion soon.